Duncan Riley here from the Inquisitor, taking a quick screencast of Utterz. Utterz isn't a new service. Utterz has actually been around for quite some time. The service is probably best known as a audio capturing tool, so you can ring in and you can leave an audio message. They've also have other features, as you can see here from the screen. You can do video and text. Why they've come onto the radar today, basically, is because they've announced what Mashable describes as Twitter-like features, so you can do direct messaging and things like that. I've never actually used the service before. I've seen other people use it, but I've never tried it before. So I've signed up for an account just to take a look and just see, well, is it really like Twitter? Here's what I found, or here's a quick walkthrough of what I've discovered so far. I'm currently on the public thread. I'm actually logged in, as you can see. A couple of cool features. Gives you a local number to call into, so that's a Melbourne, Australia number. I don't know how broad that local dial-in feature is, but certainly, I mean, if they've got one for Melbourne, Australia, they've probably got one for most places where people listening to this screencast will live. You can see here you can send in video, pics, text via email. That's basically obviously a mobile phone style feature. So you can go it as private. If you send something in that hasn't got a title, you can send title. There's other things as well. There's a mobile page. The mobile service, well, is pretty lame actually. You can sort of follow text, but you really can't do much else. They do warn you, but it is an alpha service, so it will improve with time. I'm not sure whether these guys have an API or not, so maybe others may come up with some mobile type tools as well. I basically want to look at this from a Twitter competitor. So as you can see, you've got your threaded comments there. If I go find something in thread. One reply, here we go, show discussion. So you can see there's the original one, there's the response. Funnily, they were talking about tweets on a video here. So you bring up the video here, you press on play. Now in my testing, I don't know where it's because I'm here in Australia, sometimes these videos do take a little bit disjointed, so it sort of stops and starts. I don't know whether that's an Utterz issue or an issue on my end. Certainly when I play seismic videos and whatnot, I don't have that problem, so I'm going to suggest that it may be an Utterz problem with playback. I think my 14 meg broadband should be able to cope with that, but that's a negative. If we find something of audio, actually we go home. So we can bring up, my first thing I actually did was I dialed in from, here we go, dialed in from my iPhone using that number just to see what the callback quality would be like. So it's loading eventually. Just giving others a shot. Local. So no problems at all with the audio playback. So it could be a bandwidth issue with the video. I'm not too sure about that. That's one drawback I certainly have identified. Now let's look at the positives before we get to the Twitter things. Now I can send this. This is the cool part. When it eventually loads. I can send it to contacts. I can cross post, which means I can actually plonk this into a blog post or Twitter or whatever. When I click on link, you can obviously link to it. You can also embed it. So if you like, this is a cross-platform content-taking service which is fully embeddable, so you can export anything you put in here elsewhere, which is pretty nifty. So, if I was on the road, I did an audio podcast or interviewed someone for 5 minutes. I'm not sure, again, if there's time limits on these. But say I did a quick short interview with someone on Utterz, did the dial into the phone number. I'm up for my $1 or whatever it is for the phone call, because phone calls here are timed on mobiles, unfortunately. But you can then later on embed it or share it. So that's a pretty cool feature. Other features, back there we did the thread part. Let's see if I can find. Going into my profile, I mean, like any of these services, there's always the social things. Now I'm following 53, and only 2 people are following me, and I think I might have had a few emails come back with people saying they might want to. I don't know if there's an approval process. All those people here I'm following, all Twitter friends. They're all people on Twitter who have signed up, and very, very impressed in terms of adding friends, but you can actually log in not only to your email, but to services like Twitter, and it will automatically follow, match the two. So the walk-in, building up a network part is a lot easier. Or is not, I'm going to say a lot easier than something else. It is easy. I mean, their focus is on making this as easy as possible. You bring your Twitter friends in, bring whoever you're in, and you're done. So let's just see. JJ Projects produces stuff. Here we go. So again, going to PayPal things, you do find that it doesn't have a huge user base. So that JJ's got some May, nothing in June. It's strange it started the wrong way around. Okay, we'll get rid of that word. Thanks, JJ. But yeah, so I mean, look, go back to home. It doesn't have the community that Twitter or even Plurk and FriendFeed has. It's not there yet, but as overall as a platform, I think this is pretty cool. You can do your DM, you can do your Twitter type stuff, and you can do all this other stuff. Again, paying a part to Seismic, it's not as hardcore video and maybe not as fully featured as Seismic, but it mashes the idea of Twitter with Seismic and some audio and stuff like that. I think that's pretty cool. So my thoughts on it, I'm going to keep having a play with this. So mostly going to see about just like dialing in and see what happens there. Give it a try. I don't see this being a Twitter killer as such, but I'm not sure what anyone's suggesting it is. But look, it's definitely another player in the microblogging space which will compete in a way with Twitter. And let's face it, all competition is good competition.